Today I have a special treat today. Chicks on the Right with two individuals with multiple names. So I definitely want to get behind that. We have Miriam Weaver, who is Mock or Macarena, and Amy Jo Clark, who is Daisy. How are you guys doing?
Great. Doing well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Now, I've got to know, and I'm sure you've told 5,000 times, but it's new to me. Macarena. What? That was a dance. What's up?
Well, it's spelled a little differently than the dance. And it is a play on that word, actually, because way back in the day, I had a blog. And so it was a platform to mock celebrities and other just things that are curious to me. And I asked my husband for help coming up with a screen name. And so he just immediately blurted out, how about Macarena? And I was like, I love it. I'll take it. And then it's just sort of carried through our Chicks on the Right endeavor and has always sort of stuck. And I just kept it.
Oh, cool. And okay, Daisy.
Well, Daisy, it's funny, actually my name on our site is just Daisy. It's like the flower, Daisy. And I'm like, listen, I'm just going to change mine to something that looks like Jay-Z, like Jay-Z and Beyonce. And so I'm going to change it to Daisy. So I look kind of edgy and cool. And so I just changed mine, and it's forevermore Day/Z every single day. So it's actually Daisy, like the flower, which is, I just love daisies. And so that was my moniker that I picked for the site. And so I just have Day/Z on our little podcast every single morning. So I'm very boring.
Okay. I've got one for you. If you ever want to use it, like, let's say you're angry, you could be the Daisy Cutter. And that was a bomb that blew everybody out. And very famous in Vietnam. So there's one for you.
I like
so
that.
That's
if you
perfect.
want to go on a rant, you can call it a Daisy Cutter rant and just go at it.
That actually works. That works for me because I'm more of the person that probably would be cutting people out of the two of us.
Fantastic. Okay, now I'm definitely going to get into the locals here in a minute, but I really want to know who you are. And I read up on your history, and it looks like you're doing something similar that I've kind of done with Allison Morrow, who's another creator, Nate Brody, another creator, where we get on the phone and we talk to each other and we talk and we argue and we bicker, we have a great time, but we're always laughing. I understand you guys worked at the same place at one point. Is your show stemming out of lunch hour conversations?
Yeah, you can take that one, Mark.
Right. That's exactly how it began, is over lunchtime conversations that we were having at work. And we discovered ourselves talking about politics in the summer of 2008, as many people were, because that was sort of the rise of Obama. And even though we weren't political creatures at the time, that seemed to be the focus of a lot of our conversations. And of course, the way we talked about politics was very different than what you would find on your typical news show. And so she had the idea a few months after we started working together and having lunch every day. She was like, why don't we start a website where we can deliver this kind of commentary in a way that's more relatable than what people might find elsewhere? And so that's exactly what we did. And the rest is history.
Okay, so and then, well, there's some history. There's some steps on the way. You didn't just 2008 to now. We're talking 14 years. It was,
a lot of years.
Your average overnight sensations, 10 years. So
a lot, a lot of time there. Yeah, we started out with the website only, and it grew kind of a cult following because we had no idea what to expect from that, And we were and I call us like the OGs of seriously, because we did this at a time when, because now you see a lot of this. You see a lot of people doing what we do, and the websites that have the political punditry and people like weighing in on what they think. But really, at the time when we started, there weren't a lot of people doing what we do now. And so we were in sort of at the ground level of this, like, when the Tea Party was doing their thing, and we were talking a lot about that, and it was very grassroots at that time. So that's when we started. It was a really exciting time. I mean, looking back on that time, it really was a really fun, exciting, very grassroots time. And it was a cool time to get involved in politics. And so we did, and we had this little cult following, and it grew very steadily. It was very, very organic. I mean, we never paid for advertising or anything like that. It was purely just word of mouth, and hey, have you read this blog? And people just started following us. And it was before Facebook had all those funky algorithms, and it was a cool time to be able to start. We're very grateful, I think, that we were able to start at that time. It was just the right we were in the right place at the right time, I think. It was very serendipitous. And so we had that cult following. And then around 2013, Miriam Mock wrote a post about Jay Carney, who was the press secretary for Obama at that time. And the title of the post said, it had in it, Jay Carney can kiss my assular area. Because she's very, very inappropriate, Miriam is. And because I've never written anything like that. Never. And so never. And so,
let me have your phones, both of you.
Yeah.
Let me check your text history.
Well, believe me, they wanted to take her phone, because on Facebook, a lot of liberals were really, upset about that, because she wrote that. And so at that time there was a little bit of that algorithmic stuff going on, because they started reporting that she did this. Oh my God, she hurt my feelings with this title. And so they started reporting her. I'm so butthurt. And so they talked about how, she was so, owie to them, to their feel bads. And so they had her shut down. So she was shut down personally. It was the first time we experienced that in 2013. So again, we were like sort of the OGs of being shut down on Facebook. So she called me at 5 a.m. Oh my God, I just got shut down. What are we going to do? Oh my, he's freaking out. And I hadn't been shut down. So I went out and did sort of like a full PR assault. You guys were getting shut down on Facebook. Like, this is unheard of. This is crazy. And I'm probably going to be next. And so tell everybody that, this is a huge PR thing is what, I ended up doing. And it really ended up benefiting us, because, this is what liberals do, right? They try to squelch you. And then what happens is you tell people, and then people like Todd Starnes pick up the story and they tell it. And then a gajillion more people hear about it. And they're like, wait, these two working moms from Indiana are getting shut down on Facebook because of liberals? Heck no. And so, we got a lot of publicity out of it. And so in 2013, we experienced a nice bump. And then we ended up getting a radio show because of that bump. And so
if I could just pipe in really quickly to just put some extra color on how big of a deal that was at the time compared to now, when like everybody gets censored off of Facebook and social media platforms. Mm-hmm. It was such a big deal at that time that Whoopi Goldberg talked about it on The View and named us, and like even said, these chicks on the right are in the news today because Facebook shut them down. So that's how much, when she says we were the OGs of censorship, like she means it. That's how much of a big deal it was, is that we were mentioned about it on The View.
By Whoopi, of all people.
By Whoopi.
Who even commented, and she was like, what a funny name. It's such a cute name, kind of a thing. Nowadays, she'd be like, I hate them. Right? I mean, she'd never say what a cool name. I mean,
you have residual credit for the Dixie Chicks at that time. So Dixie Chicks were against Bush, so they loved them. So the chicks, good, nice association. Probably not as much now, just a guess.
Right.
Don't even get us started on that.
Oh my God, don't, on the Dixie Chicks. Yeah. So we got a nice bump in 2013, and we ended up doing radio. We got a book deal in 2014, wrote our book, and it was kind of, a big flurry of just stuff around that 2-year span, and then did radio together, local radio, for 7 years. Isn't that right? Mm-hmm. 7 years, Mary? Yeah. And then I moved to Texas about, what was it? A year ago, I moved to Texas. That's right. Yeah. And so I decided I wanted to move to Texas. It was the right time, COVID, all sorts of reasons. Decided it was just the right time, moved to Texas. And then now we're apart, obviously in different states. And so we had started our podcast like 3 years ago. And then about a year ago, we decided, not a year ago, a couple months ago, we decided, let's go full time with the podcast. And she left radio. She continued to do radio with our producer a year ago after I left, and they had a really successful show without me. I don't know how, but they did without me. And then, a couple months ago, she decided, let's just focus on this chicks thing. Because in the 13, 14 years we've been together, we've never just focused on chicks on the right. We've always had other things going on in the peripheral, because it's been hard to do that. But we decided, in the past few months, we're just going to focus on being chicks. And so far it's been pretty awesome being able to do that.
And Locals has been a part of that. I mean, that's what sort of, we've decided to focus 100% of our energy on our business and on our brand and on our community. This was a natural way to grow it, because because it is also just like Elon Musk has taken Twitter over to keep free speech alive.
Right.
Locals is very much a part of that story too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, earlier you were talking about Facebook algorithms, and I was going to point something out. Do you find people of your community sometimes saying, it's so odd, the flow of information, and they don't realize that Locals isn't toying with an algorithm? It is actually first in, first out. So it's like, well, the most recent thing, unless it's pinned, is going to be the newest thing. And everybody is completely confused because they're like, wait, it doesn't look like Twitter or Facebook. You found that?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Because it used to be that, because I mean, Locals is, I think the way that social should be. And one of the things, I think the biggest thing, I think Miriam would agree with this, the thing that we're most proud of is the way that we've been able to build a community and those sub communities within our giant community. Like we always say we're sort of like the conduit for friendships. Like there are people that get together and they travel together. These people pray for each other. These people, I mean, these are like, it's unbelievable. These people come together and they're like best friends. We have people that have never met each other in person, and they become these amazing friends. They form these unbelievable communities. There was just like-minded people. And I think that, you know, having a platform like Locals is such a great way for those people, obviously, to be able to, without it, we'd not be able to do it, right? I mean, you have to have, it is the conduit. We're the conduit, but you have to have the platform to facilitate those relationships. And so we would have never been able to do it without something like a Locals. But Facebook, you're right, the out of order, the way that we saw it at the beginning is so different than the way it looks now. Not to mention the fact that they suppress conservatives. I mean, my God, suppression of conservatives has been outrageous over the past 5 years.
Well, and we started, you know, a Facebook insiders group, which is similar in terms of its subscription format to the Locals format. But the difference is, and it's a great community, and we wouldn't speak badly of the community ever, because it's absolutely fantastic. And it's been a nice way for that community building to happen. However, I think people, the people that follow us in both places, what they will notice and what they do notice is the difference is they can post a meme on Locals and not worry that it's going to be fact checked. Right. They can post whatever their heart's desire at Locals and not worry that they're going to be censored or that they're going to get a COVID misinformation label on it if they just simply want to share a news story. So that's a huge, huge benefit that Locals has over Facebook.
Yeah,
for sure. Now, on that note, actually, I do mostly every Sunday show with my friend Nate, the lawyer, no holds barred, exclusively on Locals together. And one thing we talk about are touchy subjects. He's Black, for example. So we do go into race and different things. And we also say those, the I word, for example, you know, the words that you can't say on YouTube. And I'm censoring myself right now because this is going on YouTube. Do you do that currently, or are you guys planning to do maybe some exclusive shows that are a little bit more hot button topic on Locals?
Oh God, I would love to do that, but we're waiting for Locals to be compatible with our StreamYard streaming platform. And they have told us, Manon has told us that this will happen sometime this year. And if that's the case, then yes, absolutely. We would love to be able to do that. We're in 2 different locations, which makes it complicated. And so because we use that streaming platform, which is very, very compatible with all the platforms at once, it allows us to stream everywhere at once. We're waiting for that functionality with Locals, and then we'll be off and running.
Okay, if you ever want to do it special, I can show you how, because Nate's in New York and I'm in Virginia. So I'm the guy who figured out how to do it in Local. So if you ever want, I can, I'll set you up. We'll talk on the side. But
that would be awesome. Yeah, because we're all about hot button issues. If anybody knows how to like make buttons hot, it's us.
And we do what you say too, when you self-censor a little bit. We did that a lot when it came to the election. We were finding ourselves always talking about the action LA being Olin stay and using Pig Latin to say the things that we really wanted to say without
always
saying
Pig Latin.
them.
Always Pig Latin, Eric. She speaks in Pig Latin all the time.
I'm very fluent.
You ever confuse yourself? I had that in a live stream one time because I don't know if you remember, obviously when the Cosby stuff went down, we were afraid to say Cosby. And
really? Oh
Yeah,
my
so I was
gosh.
saying America's Dad.
Oh my gosh.
And then one
So
of our
funny.
co-hosts, bless him, because he's my age. He denies he's a Gen Xer, but it's like, dude, you're a Gen Xer. We're born 8 days apart, you moron. But anyway, well, that'll probably get censored too. Anyway, I would say America's Dad. He's like, who? America's Dad in Pennsylvania with the what?
He's probably like, right. He's like, Tim Allen? Is it Tim Allen? No, it's Bill Cosby. It's not Tim Allen. Because I mean, there's so many America's Dads. Like, if you're a Gen Xer, I would be guessing like 14 different dads from all. Like, are you talking about Robin Thicke? Is it Robin Thicke? Who is it? Who is the
That's
Gen
Alan
X
Thicke,
dad?
I think you mean.
I'm sorry, not Robin Thicke. Oh my God. It's not the blurred lines guy. I just said the blurred lines guy.
But it's a blurred line between the two.
I know. That's so funny.
God.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
On that note, building your community, and one thing is striking me earlier is I believe what I love about locals is I got a personal story. Valentine's Day, not this year, last year, YouTube nuked my channel, like 100% removed. I could not even log in. I'm been a YouTube premium member since like 2008. I couldn't even log in. It was gone, vaporized.
What did you do?
Yeah.
That it was a mistake on their part. I can't go into details because we don't talk about certain things with our overlords. But anyway, it was a mistake. It finally got restored. But Locals was there for me. And this is I had literally started Locals on Martin Luther King Day, the month before. And fortunately, people jumped in. Dave Rubin was so kind to, share my plight along with Viva Fry and all these great Locals people. Even Chris from Rumble, who was now associated with Locals, obviously, had tweeted out my plight or put it up on Rumble, the video. But do you find yourself feeling safer there and also feeling like you have people of shared values because they're investing in what you were saying and therefore you're just more comfortable talking there?
Oh, way more comfortable. I say I'm way more comfortable on Locals. Yeah. Because I do feel it's like-minded people. And even if they don't agree with everything that we say, it's like they agree with our right to say it. I think that's the most important thing. It's just, I feel like I'm not working with a bunch of commies.
Well, and you also have the factor that it is a subscription. And so, people are invested in being a part of the community, and that it would take a really weird kind of person to subscribe only to be a troll or only to be testing the algorithms or systems all the time. So that just kind of going in that with a subscription platform, you're dealing with people who are for the most part like-minded and who want to be there. It's not just people who happen to come across your page and decide they want to junk it up with whatever their ridiculous commentary it is. It's people who know that their opinions and commentary will also be valued by the community because it's a like-minded, shared interest kind of community.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one thing I love about it too, is that, for example, YouTube memberships or Patreon or anything else, I feel like those are top-down communities. Like, I'm here on a hill and I bestow upon you whatever I'm saying. Whereas Locals is more of a community itself, where people themselves post and interact with each other. You just mentioned your people are traveling, meeting up with each other. Do you actively encourage that? And if so, how do you encourage their involvement? Because sometimes, people comment or they'll put up a post and it's like crickets. It's like, folks, come on, comment on each other's stuff. What do you guys do to help, spur that on in your community?
Gosh, I don't even do, have we ever, I think, well, part of it, I think, is because we are involved. We talk to people. We're not standoffish when it comes to being kind of like hostesses of our own pages. We talk to people. We put content out there. We're like part of the mix. We get into the mix. We are the people. You know what I mean? We're not like up here. We're in there with the people. And I think that makes people become more involved because they're like, oh my gosh, they're out there with us and they're, engaging and they're, they're with us. They're not here. They're here. So that's part of it. And then it just takes on it's always taken on a life of its own. Don't you think, Mary? Like they've always.
Yeah, but I do think that we do encourage it even like subconsciously or unconsciously that we encourage it, because for example, when we're doing a live stream, we're looking at the comments to the extent that we can and trying to respond, or after the fact, we're trying to respond, or we're talking about the people in the communities. Maybe somebody's celebrating an anniversary, maybe somebody's gone through some sort of a hardship. So we mention those because we care about those people in our community. And so when we talk about them, I think it does, even though we're not necessarily meaning to do it for that reason, that's the natural result of doing that, is when we're a part of the community itself and people recognize that, then it makes them want to be in community with one another too. And so I don't know that we're like, Daisy and I have never sat down together and said, let's figure out a way to get these people to talk to each other. We just are talking to them. And so it encourages conversation naturally.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that have, profiles, a lot of these people who are, I don't even want to, because we're not influencers. I don't even know, what do you call us? I don't even know what we are. People who have
influencers. You
okay,
are.
well, I don't, because I feel like, right. I feel like I have to go influencer.
I mean, not like AOC, but
right. I don't like, I just hate that word, just kind of bothers me. But with the people that do what we do, a lot of them don't.
Creators.
They don't.
That's a good one.
Creators. People who do what we do don't engage with their people. And I don't know why that is. They just feel like, maybe they feel like we are, I create, but I don't engage. We've always engaged, like from day one, we've always been in the mix, talking to our people. We just like to do that. We've done it from the very beginning. We've always been on our pages, always been in the comment sections, good or bad. I mean, sometimes we spar with people, and sometimes we're like, oh my God, you just had your kid just had a baby. That's so great. Oh my God. I mean, we've always just been talking to the people, and good or bad, that's just been the way that we are. And I think that's how you get people actively engaged with you, is to just talk to people. I think
we have a natural curiosity about the people that join our communities anyway. And so I think that just carries throughout the communities. I think that the fact that we're curious about them and want to know about them, like it always makes me laugh so hard when we'll get an email from someone and we'll respond. And then that person will be like, oh my God, I can't believe you responded. And I'm like, why?
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we respond? Yeah, I don't, it is crazy, isn't it? Like, we don't understand why that would be. And plus they're awesome. Like, we want to be friends with them because they're cool people, so it just,
which is why we're doing our first meet and greet in several years this fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And then hope to have more. So we're hoping we're going to do one in September, the weekend of September the 10th. And then we're going to hopefully do another one in the spring somewhere out west. We're trying to do them kind of all over the country.
Are you going to have it virtually too for those who can't attend?
We're thinking about how that's going to work. Yeah, we're thinking about that.
That would be awesome. The one in the spring, we're hoping to maybe finagle something with that. We're probably not going to do that for the one in September, but in the spring, that would be kind of cool. Yeah.
You could each have your phone up and just have dueling, live sessions. Like, I'm serious. A walk and talk, like Lucas live stream.
We'll probably do some of that.
Look who's here.
I think that would be cool. And I think we will in the spring. I think that would be something that we really want to try to figure out how to do. I think that would be awesome. Yeah.
In the fall, I feel like we're just so overwhelmed by some of the details and how big it's going to be and all of that stuff that.
And like, if
we mean to do some of that live streaming, we'll totally forget.
Yeah. We're just trying to figure out, are we going to have food there? I mean, because we're not good at the event planning thing. We just really suck at event planning. So we're just trying to figure it all out.
Your community might be able to help with that. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's experts in the community, like, who made that for me, over my door.
That's a great point, Eric, because I think a lot of people who are there will probably live stream it on, they could do that on locals. They could do it for us. And honestly, we've talked about that a little bit, where I think, since there are going to be 375 people there, out of those 375 people, I feel like there's probably going to be a handful that will live stream some stuff. And that would be fantastic. I think that would be great. Yeah, that would be great.
And it brings the rest of the community who just could not go.
Right.
Speaking of that, I don't know, I've read a good bit of your book, maybe just over halfway through, but you had a great story in there about someone who reached out to you back when you were doing your blog, who had lost her job and everything else. And really good story, how the community got together. Do you feel like you're continuing that same tradition with locals Oh, but even more directly, like with a blog, they have to write in and things like that. Whereas locals, it's a bit more immediate for you.
I don't know that we've had another example like that on locals. I know we've had some examples like that that are similar, where we've got people in our communities that reach out in times of struggle of some of our other members, whether it's financially or through prayer or other kinds of support. We have seen those stories time and again in our subscriber communities on Facebook, on locals. Nothing quite as dramatic as what we saw with Leslie. That's the story that you're referring to in our book. But it happens so it's such a natural part of our community anyway. The stories are almost daily. Somebody's going in for surgery and people rally, man. I mean, it is a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah, I think with Miriam, it happened with Miriam. Miriam had a mini stroke this past Valentine's Day on the air. And like, I mean, it was like everybody just talk about rallying. Everybody just rallied for her. And so everybody was so concerned, of course. I mean, I think I was the most concerned, but I mean, but everybody was like losing their minds. And it was just, and honestly, I mean, I'm a big believer in prayer anyway, but I think the power of prayer was like, everybody came together for her. And I would expect nothing less from our community. And so, yeah, that was a huge example of our community coming together and being like, okay, all hands on deck. What do we need to do to get her to feel better, and to be at the top of her game, and we got to get her back and like, make sure that she's okay. And, it was like prayer warriors, and they will do that. This is what these people do. So, and they mean it,
By the way,
not just for us, but for each other.
Right.
For sure. By the way, thank you very much for leaving that up. I know that it had to be an odd decision of, do I cause more stress by doing that or less stress by doing that? But you're helping people see signs of what could or couldn't happen, but also taking some of the stigma out of it, I feel, by leaving it up for others and just being vulnerable. So thank you very much for doing
I appreciate you saying that. It was not a tough decision for me at all. I mean, I knew, there's like embarrassment about it. Like it's, you don't want that to be something that you go through in front of like the whole world, but yeah, it was like a no-brainer decision for me. I was just like, this needs to stay, because I knew that that's what was happening to me in that moment. But I did think to myself, just like you said, that there are other people who may not have ever thought through or learned about what those signs are and how really subtle they can sometimes be. And so that was the whole reason that I wanted to leave it out there, is that hopefully it might help even just one person.
How did you know though? Because you knew, and that was really fascinating. You
said,
totally did. Think it's, so how did you know? Because I mean, I compare thinking of myself or looking at myself as trying to read my label from inside the jar. It's very difficult to understand this. How did you go, oh, this is what's happening?
I think because I have a family history of heart disease. My dad he went through cardiac arrest, which is, granted, it's different than a stroke, but because I have those same risk factors, I've always been hyper aware of what my own risk factors are, what my own health concerns are. And so because heart disease and stroke are something that are natural results, unfortunately, of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, things that I do suffer from, I've always wanted to learn about what those signs are. And it was a huge blessing that I was on camera in that moment, because one of the things I thought of when I couldn't speak is, am I droopy? And I thought, oh my God, if I'm droopy, and I could see it, I had the benefit of being on camera and able to see that that one side of my face was drooping. And that's why I reached out to touch it to see if I could feel it. And so since I knew that was one of the signs, I knew instantly, as soon as I could see that droop, I was like, oh crap, that's what's happening. And then I was able to verbalize finally, I think I'm having a stroke, even though it sounded funny when I said it. I knew that that's exactly what it was.
Of course, the left side is the bad side, right?
Yeah. Right.
I don't even remember which side was droopy at this point.
No.
I don't even remember.
I honestly, I don't either. But I actually have a friend she's a doctor, and I was talking to her about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was at a swim meet for my daughter, and she said, I will use that video in my practice. I will use that
Wow.
video in my practice to show and she's an oncologist. She's a cancer doctor, but she said, I will tell my friends and my other doctor friends, and we will use that video in practices to show patients what it looks like, because some people don't understand what a TIA looks like. And it wasn't that severe. It's just like the speech patterns, and like, just, it was little nuances that some people are embarrassed. And some people want to go, oh no, it's fine. I'm fine. Like, I'm totally fine. And they want to brush it off, and you shouldn't ever brush that stuff off. And so I think it's just it was great that it was on camera. It was a great thing that she was on camera that day. And so I love that she decided to keep it up. And actually, we got a lot of crap for it. I mean, she got some people would come at us and go, I can't believe you left that up. And I got a lot of crap that day, and they were like, Daisy, take it down, take that down. I mean, a lot of people were screaming at me that day, and I was like, I'm not going to do anything with it until I hear what she wants to do. And she said, keep it up. And I'm glad that she decided to do that. I think it was a really cool thing that she decided to do, because it was quite educational, and there are people who are going to really benefit from that, and she could save somebody's life. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Right.
For sure. Well, now I noticed that you guys, it looks like, I think it was you, Amy, who did the tour of your house.
Yeah.
And so to wrap it up, I noticed that you did something I like to call a retention question in the biz.
Yes.
Which is literally, hey, there's a question at the end, so everybody needs to watch the whole tour and actually see the house. And you settled on a poster. I want to end with one thing. The poster is a Magnificent Seven. And you asked everyone to identify all seven members.
Don't make me say it. Don't make me say all that. Don't. Because I can't tell you all of them. I can't. It's like, listen, I'd have to actually Google it. My husband's really good at that. I don't know all of them. I could tell you like maybe 3 of them. I don't know. Oh my God. You're going to make me answer. You got me.
I feel like Jordan Peterson, like, gotcha. No.
I know, you totally got me. I know, because listen, one of them is like Horst or something, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like, we were going through them the other night. I'm like, I don't know. Now, if you ask me like there's a remake of the Magnificent Seven, and I can tell you a lot of the remake guys. Like, those guys are, one of them is the really hot guy who's in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Chris
Pratt. That guy, Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is in that. Denzel Washington's in that. I mean, there's some super, like, those are more my generation guys, but the older, like Yul Brynner and all those guys, still very good looking cowboy-esque guys. I mean, but we have them hanging up on our wall. It's just kind of like an homage to cowboys of yore, So that's, but you'd be surprised. There were like a couple people that could answer that. And I was like, props to those people. Yeah. Props to them.
Yeah. But from now on, you're gonna be like, that SOB Eric. I can't believe he did that to me.
I'm gonna have to get it, like, write it down, have a cheat sheet right next to my camera. I'm gonna have to do that. You got me, Eric. Yeah.
All right. Well, people can find you chicks on the right.locals.com.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to follow you. A lot more stuff to come. I'm gonna push you guys and try to get you up and running to have the spicy content that you can't.
That
share
would be
anywhere
so
else.
great. That would be so great.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
It
was really nice to meet you.
So great. Yes, thank you.